Good evening, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel at the anchor desk with my partner Clark Kellogg, bringing you the 2K Sports NCAA Selection Show. We're all set to show you the seedings and pairings, so get out your bracket sheet, get those pencils ready. Here are the basics. Of the 65 available tournament bids, 31 are automatically given to conference champions. The tournament committee hands out the remaining 34 bids on an at-large basis. An opening round game will take place on Tuesday night to narrow the field to 64 teams. But before we unveil the brackets for this season, here's a look at the final top 25 media poll of the season. There's at least one change in the rankings to tell you about. The Georgetown Hoyas jumped all the way from the number 21 spot to number 15.
They're peaking at just the right time, Greg. This is exactly the way you want to be playing going into the tournament.
The media rankings are what everyone's been following for the last 4 months. But in just a minute, the selection committee's opinion is going to be the only one that matters. Now let's take a look at the NCAA tournament bubble and see which teams are sitting at home with their fingers crossed, hoping to see their name in the brackets. There are a lot of worthy candidates among these 10 teams, Clark. Which of these bubble teams stands out to you right now?
Dayton put together a solid season, but their record just isn't impressive enough to make them a no-brainer bid. If the committee doesn't give weight to their tough conference, they could be out of luck.
And we have a few more teams in similar position, right, Clark?
North Carolina did just enough to get on the bubble, but I'm not sure they did enough to get off the bubble. There may have been a few too many bumps in the road for them.
I'm sure it's been a long week for those teams, but it's almost over. The NCAA Selection Committee has finished its meeting, and we're ready to unveil the top 4 seeds in this year's tournament. The Florida Gators are the top overall seed, and they will play in the East Regional. On to the second number 1 seed, who will play in the South Regional. The Duke Blue Devils are seeking their 4th NCAA championship in school history. The Ohio State Buckeyes are our 3rd number 1 seed, and they'll play in the Midwest Regional. They're back in the tournament again, and no doubt they'll be feeding off the experience of last year's appearance as they try to get to the Final Four this year. And finally, our 4th number 1 seed will play in the West Regional. The Kentucky Wildcats are in the tournament field as a number 1 seed for the 9th time in the history of their program. Now, here's how the brackets shape up based on where the number 1 seeds have been assigned. In one national semifinal game, the winner of the East Regional will play the winner of the South Regional. In the other semifinal game, the winner of the Midwest Regional will play the winner of the West Regional. Those games will be played on Saturday, April 3rd. Then it'll be on to the national championship game on Monday night, April the 5th. Anything shocking to you about those picks?
No real surprises here, Greg. All 4 of these teams have proven to be elite, and their hard work has paid off. It would be tough to argue with the choices of the committee on this one.
So, with the number 1 seeds out of the way, it's finally time to tackle the rest of the brackets. First up, we take a look at the East Regional. The Florida Gators are the top seed, finishing at 24-6. They were conference tournament champions in the SEC. They will take on the winner of the opening round play-in game between Army with 14 wins and Delaware State from the MEAC. And now, the number 8 seed, the South Florida Conference Tournament. They're going to play the number 9 seed, the Oklahoma Sooners, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 20-10. Georgetown comes in as the number 5 seed, finishing at 25-10. And they will take on the 12th seed from the Mountain West Conference, the UNLV Runnin' Rebels, with 21 wins. Michigan enters the field as the number 4 seed from the Big Ten. This marks their 16th appearance all-time in the NCAA tournament. They'll be getting ready to face the number 13 seed, the Davidson Wildcats. Finished the season with 22 wins.
The Michigan Wolverines will be an extremely dangerous team in this tournament, mainly because they have such terrific veteran leadership. Coaches love when they have guys on the floor that have been around the block a few times because they don't get rattled. They play with composure. I look at the experience of this team as something that could put them over the top.
The Rhode Island Rams are in as the number 6 seed. They'll be taking on the number 11 seed, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, with 19 wins. Alabama comes in as the number 3 seed, finishing at 22-9. Northern Colorado comes in to face them at number 14 with 18 wins in the tournament championship of the Big Sky. Our number 7 seed is from the ACC. The Virginia Tech Hokies were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the big dance. They are going to play the number 10 seed, the Stanford Cardinal, who were semifinalists in their conference tournament, finishing at 19-13. Next up is the number 2 seed. The Tennessee Volunteers have established themselves as one of the best teams from the SEC. They'll be going up against the number 15 seed, the Jackson State Tigers, with 22 wins. This marks their 4th appearance all time in the NCAA tournament. There are going to be some incredible matchups in the later rounds of this bracket. If the top seeds can avoid the early upsets, we can look forward to some real heavyweight battles. Next up, we'll take a look at the South Regional. The Duke Blue Devils are the top seed, finishing at 27-6. They won both the regular season and conference tournament titles in the ACC. They'll take on the Western Illinois Leathernecks, the number 16 ranked team. This marks their first appearance in the NCAA tournament in the history of their school. Charlotte comes in as the number 8 seed, finishing at 23-10. Marquette comes in to face them at number 9 with 21 wins and a chance to make believers out of any doubters they might have. Vanderbilt enters the field as the number 5 seed from the SEC. This will be their 11th appearance in the NCAA tournament in team history. They'll be getting ready to face the number 12 seed, the UC Riverside Highlanders. Finished the season with 20 wins.
The Vanderbilt Commodores could be a great pick in this competition. There are a lot of things I like about this team. They don't back down from anybody, and they've shown that throughout the year with some real quality wins. You've got to be tough if you're going to have a chance in the NCAA tournament, physically and mentally, and there's no question these guys are tough.
Mississippi State comes in as the number 4 seed, finishing at 22-10. And they'll take on the 13th seed from the Northeast Conference, the Mountaineers of Mount St. Mary, with 20 wins. And now the number 6 seed, the Arkansas Razorbacks, come into the tournament 5th in their conference during the regular season and were semifinalists in their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 11 seed, the Kansas Jayhawks, who were semifinalists in their conference tournament, finishing at 20-13. The USC Trojans are in as the number 3 seed. They'll be taking on the number 14 seed, the Winthrop Eagles, with 20 wins. Next up is the number 7 seed. The Arizona State Sun Devils have established themselves as one of the best teams from the Pac-10. They'll be going up against the number 10 seed, the Nevada Wolfpack, with 24 wins. This marks their 7th appearance in the NCAA tournament in team history. Our number 2 seed is from Conference USA. The Southern Miss Golden Eagles come into the NCAA tournament as winners of their regular season and conference tournament championships. They're going to play the number 15 seed, the Texas A&M Corpus Christi Islanders, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 19-9. Some of the lower seeds in this bracket have the ability to not only compete with the high seeds, but win a few games. The potential for a Cinderella or two in this bracket is definitely there. On to our third bracket of the day. Let's take a look at the Midwest Regional. The Ohio State Buckeyes are the top seed, finishing at 27-6. They were winners of the regular season championship in the Big Ten. They'll take on the Cleveland State Vikings, the number 16 ranked team. This will be their 2nd appearance in the NCAA tournament in team history. Our number 8 seed is from the ACC. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the big dance. They're going to play the number 9 seed, the Baylor Bears, who were 3rd in their conference, finishing at 21-10. The Oregon Ducks are in as the number 5 seed. They'll be taking on the number 12 seed, the Creighton Blue Jays, with 21 wins. Maryland enters the field as the number 4 seed from the ACC. This will be their 23rd appearance all-time in the NCAA tournament. They'll be getting ready to face the number 13 seed, the Bowling Green Falcons. Finished the season with 19 wins.
The Maryland Terrapins are going to provide serious matchup problems to any team that doesn't have depth and defensive ability at both guard spots. They have outstanding backcourt play at both ends of the court. It's the main reason they've made it this far, and they're going to have to maintain that form if they want to do some damage in this tournament.
Oklahoma State comes in as the number 6 seed, finishing at 20-10. And they take on the 11th seed from the Pac-10, the Washington Huskies, with 20 wins. And now the number 3 seed, the Illinois Fighting Illini, come into the tournament on the strength of a 3rd-place finish in their conference regular season and were semifinalists in their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 14 seed, the Utah State Aggies, who came in 1st in their conference tournament, finishing at 17-12. Next up is the number 7 seed. The Villanova Wildcats have established themselves as one of the best teams from the Big East. They'll be going up against the number 10 seed, the Arizona Wildcats, with 18 wins. They return once more to the very familiar surroundings of the NCAA tournament. Cal comes in as the number 2 seed, finishing at 25-7. Samford comes in to face them at number 15 with 15 wins in the tournament championship of the Ohio Valley Conference. It's the first question every Selection Sunday: which is the toughest bracket? Well, this bracket looks to me like it wins that prize this year. Not only are the top seeds strong, the lower seeds can be dangerous as well. And finally, let's have a look at the West Regional. The Kentucky Wildcats are the top seed, finishing at 26-6. They were winners of the regular season championship in the SEC. They'll take on the North Florida Ospreys, the number 16 ranked team. This marks their first appearance in the NCAA tournament in the history of their school. Next up is the number 8 seed. The Boston College Eagles have established themselves as one of the best teams from the ACC. They'll be going up against the number 9 seed, the Ole Miss Rebels, with 19 wins. This marks their 7th appearance ever in the NCAA tournament. Syracuse comes in as the number 5 seed, finishing at 24-10. And they will take on the 12th seed from the America East Conference, the Boston University Terriers, with 23 wins. Pepperdine comes in as the number 4 seed, finishing at 25-5. St. Mary's comes in to face them at number 13 with 16 wins in the tournament championship of the West Coast Conference. Our number 6 seed is from the ACC. The Wake Forest Demon Deacons were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the big dance. They are going to play the number 11 seed, the Virginia Commonwealth Rams, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 22-10. The Memphis Tigers are in as the number 3 seed. They'll be taking on the number 14 seed, the Cornell Big Red, with 19 wins. And now the number 7 seed, the Siena Saints, come into the tournament first in their conference during the regular season and were winners of their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 10 seed, the Seton Hall Pirates, who were 7th in their conference, finishing at 18-13. Michigan State enters the field as the number 2 seed from the Big Ten. This is their 24th appearance in the NCAA tournament in team history. They'll be getting ready to face the number 15 seed, the Denver Pioneers, finished the season with 15 wins.
The Michigan State Spartans are a team I love watching play. They've been one of the highest scoring teams in the country, and I don't see any reason for them to slow down during the tournament. If they can dictate the tempo of a game and force the other team to run with them, they are very hard to deal with. I wouldn't put it past these guys to make a run this year.
What a tremendous regional final we'd have in this bracket if the number 1 and 2 seeds here make it through the first 3 rounds unscathed. That could be one of the games of the tournament. Clark, give us your take on the tournament's top 16 seeds.
There are no real off-the-wall picks that jump out at me. These 16 teams are all pretty deserving. Let's give the committee some props this year. Illinois has some flaws that are going to keep them from being a dangerous team in that number 3 position. There are usually some Final Four contenders among the 3 seeds, but I'd look elsewhere this year.
Now, let's bring the conference picture into focus. The SEC gets 8 teams. The Pac-10 with 7 out of the Big East. The ACC gets 6 teams.
What a down year for the non-power conferences. We're used to seeing at least one of those conferences compete on the level of the power conferences, but not this year.
It's too bad we didn't see more small conference schools in the tournament. None of those conferences got more than 1 team in the tourney, and I don't expect any David and Goliath stories out of the teams that did get in.
I'm surprised there were so few bids for the teams in the Mountain West Conference. It was an especially disappointing year for that conference. Usually you can count on a few of the nation's elite teams coming out of there, but this was a season where very few of those teams could maintain any type of positive momentum.
We showed you the bubble teams before. Now that we know who's in and who's out, what do you think of the selections, Clark?
Stanford had a few quality wins this season that made them stand out above the other bubble teams, and that's probably how they punched their ticket to the tournament. Those wins over top 20 teams go a long way.
Thanks, Clark. I'm sure that this year will provide us with all the thrills and excitement that we've come to expect from the tournament.
Greg, it's going to be a fantastic tournament. We've got an outstanding field and a lot of sensational players. I guarantee there are some memorable moments soon to come.
For my partner Clark Kellogg and for all of us here in the 2K Sports Studios, I'm Greg Gumbel. Thanks for joining us on the NCAA Selection Show, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. Enjoy all the excitement of the NCAA tournament.